Hello, this is Jeff Robertson, National Sales Manager with Penton Audio USA. In this short tutorial video, we'll show you how to create message buttons within your IT5 console. Please make sure you're familiar with how to load media or audio files onto any Terra-Com device and also create playlists, which is all covered in another video before proceeding on to this video, as you will need to be familiar with those before you get to this point. So let's begin. I am going to go to my browser and I have my IT5 right here. I have a Terra-Amp module, as you can see right here, that has a speaker connected to one of the outputs on the Terra-Amp. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go to my device tab and make sure that I have devices set up. This is also covered under previous videos on how to actually set up paging buttons or devices. So in any Terra-Com module, you would need to make sure you create your devices, even if you're doing third-party controls or whatever within itself. So as you can see, I have devices or device buttons created for my AMP2, my IEX module, and the AMP Zone 1 module. So that is good. Let's go to the Function Libraries tab. And from here, I can also see that we have created an All Zones button, which has the AMP module and the IEX modules together. So here you can see in our media setting, which is covered under the previous video, we can see all of our audio files that are loaded into the IT5, and we can also see all the playlists that are created. And I have a playlist 815 boarding and also a test message. We can click on edit and actually view the audio files and the order that they will be played right there. So let's go create us a message button. So we want to go to the Function Libraries tab, just like you were going to do a Group Zone button. And in the drop-down menu, there is a feature called Message Button. So let's click on Message Button, and then over here to the bottom right, we'll click on Add. So now this is where we actually create the message buttons. So first of all, we give it a name. Very important, do not name it the exact same name as the internal playlist file, because if you do, after you go through this, it's going to say, sorry, you got a duplicate name, and then you're going to have to create it all over again. So on your playlist, you might want to abbreviate or name them something that you do not want the actual message button name to say. And remember, what name you give this here, wherever you place that message button, just like a device button, this is the name that's going to be on the button for your user to view and use. So like if I had 815 boarding, I had a screen that had all my boarding messages. Maybe I just want to enable it 815 or 0815 or 815 a.m. So let's just do an 815 boarding here, and I'm just going to put 8:15 a.m. There we go. And now the playlist is the actual playlist that you have already created and stored in the unit. They'll all show up in this drop-down menu. So I'm going to click on my 815 board. Internal means that's just an internally stored playlist. It's not something that's stored on a USB or somewhere else. The target, these are all the devices or group device buttons that you've already created in your device tab. So if I expand this out, you can see here are all the devices that we created over here in the device tab. So I want to send this to all zones. And now the mode. There are several modes, but what you're going to use for messages more often than not is either going to be paging or evac announce. I'm going to use paging here. Evac announce or evacuation announce is a software grouping or priority used with a lot of the DSPs, such as the IDA8 mass notification system, and it will allow it to do other things in addition to playing a message or whatever. It can trigger relays, amber strobes, or whatever. So that's just another level for those. Now, we got another one. Security is the same thing. When you click on security, it actually is a software grouping of a security priority that other Terra-Com modules and or the DSPs can actually use security to do other things. So you said, well, now there's a message coming in, but it's a security message, and anytime there's a security or an evac message, I want you to do whatever. So that's that, but I don't need that for this purpose. Trigger. You've got two choices, single click or double click, or I have to actually hit the button twice on the touchscreen. So whatever you prefer, you can change that here, but what I love to do for messages is this function called double check. Think of this as a confirmation window. So now when I go to press that message button, it's actually going to have a pop-up window that says, do I really want to do this? Do I accept it or reject it? And that keeps somebody from accidentally pressing the message button and then sending an evac out And now that I do this, you notice my target's gone away, because when I switched this from intercom to paging, it changed this. So I'm going to put this back to all zones, and then we hit save. And now we created a message button that will actually say 8:15 a.m. Let's add another message button, and we can move through this fairly quickly. I'm just going to say test, and this is going to be our internal test message. And I'm going to change this to paging before I do the target. And now for the target, I'm just going to say amp2 because that's where my speaker's connected. And on this one, I also want to double check on that as well. And we will hit save. So there you go. We have a couple of message buttons created here. So now all we have to do is place these message buttons anywhere on any of the screens on the IT5. And there's a video that shows you how to do that with setting paging buttons. It's exactly the same way. As a matter of fact, when I go to the machine windows, you can see I got my device buttons down here on the bottom of page 1. So right up here at the top of page 1 on position 1, I am going to put a message button. So the type is a message button. And then all my message buttons that I created will show up right here. So there's my 8:15 boarding one. I'll skip a space, and then I'll put the other message button, which will be the test message button. And there is the test message, and we will save. All right, so as you can see from the picture, my 8:15 a.m. and my test message buttons are now on the main screen, and you can place them on any screen that you want. And so to play a message, all we have to do is I am going to press my 8:15 a.m. test message button. And as you can see from this picture, this is the pop-up window that says, do you accept or reject playing this message? And when I hit accept, it's going to automatically play that message however it was set up in the playlist over the target zones or through the target zones that we created, which for this one is going to be all zones. So I'm going to press accept now, and you should hear the message playing in the background.
Now have your attention, please. This is the final boarding announcement for the 8:15 departure. All drivers and their passengers return to your vehicles at this time and have your tickets ready for scanning.
And there is the message, and everything's back to normal. All right, let's do the test button real quick. And there's my accept.
Please pardon the interruption.
And there's the test message.
Of the public address and emergency alert system.
All right, and I just had that stop right there manually. So it's as easy as that. Once you load your audios into the internal hard drive of any Terra-Com device, you create your playlist, and once the playlists are created with all your stored audio and any strings and repeats or whatever that you want, then you can control these playlists either third party, external controls. There will be a video on how to actually use DTMF dial code to trigger different playlists. And on the IT5 console, as well as the Terra Manager, you can also sit there and trigger messages via message buttons that you can create, just like we did here in the video, and place on any screen anywhere on your IT5 console. So I hope this has been a big help. Please play around with this. And as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, please contact me or Anthony at penton-usa.com. Thank you, and have a terrific day.